You ever heard that song, Place in the Sun by Stevie Wonder? I want you to always remember there's a place in the sun where there's hope for everyone, where the moving on, moving on. You ever heard it? I like it. It's one of my favorite Stevie Wonder songs. Is that my favorite? No. If He Really Loves Me, my favorite. But I got a lot of Stevie Wonder songs I like. But If He Really Loves Me, my favorite. And then Don't You Worry About a Thing. Then Place in the Sun, My Sharia More, Yester You, Yester Me, Yesterday. Well, I might like Yester You, Yesterday better than My Sharia More. Well, but you know, I just like lots of Stevie Wonder songs. But went down to the dump, right? Ran into a scientist, and at first I got really upset. It was really upsetting because, you know, when you have perverts that invade your house and sexually compromise and abuse your children, and you talk to his wife about how we need to stop and change that, and he says, I'm a rocket scientist and you're crazy and a liar, and you're like, yeah, Natalie and Amy are a lot hotter than your wife, aren't they? I just can't imagine why you'd go want to go to work and put up spy equipment and watch Natalie masturbate with guys with hot British accents on Skype or YouTube, as opposed to go home and have sex with your wife. I just don't understand it. You know, unless it's like the Jay Leno show when he goes to a meeting in LA and runs into Cindy Crawford, and his wife sits there and says, you know, you'd leave me for her. Are you kidding? I'd kill you for her, right? But why? She's a bitch. Okay. Her personal assistant was a bitch. Oh yeah, she was. Booked a flight for Cindy Crawford through her personal assistant. Made a joke, and first name Joan, and she goes, "No, Cindy." I'm like, oh, well. Got any wire hangers? You know, you know me, right? So I'm sitting there like, you know, that guy. And after I got really mad, you know, I told him he was an asshole. And the security guard's going, "Is everything okay?" I talked to Eric, the security guard, told him what was up, and told him what I went through in Cochise County and since coming back here, and you know, I just couldn't help it. I had to call him an asshole. In ancient times, I would have been able to break his neck. Okay, cut off his head and put it on his bike and say, "Hey, Jonathan's 5-year-old club-footed brother is not my worst enemy." All right, you know, so I understand it completely. And then on my way to the dump, and I talked to a guy that was there. You know, it made me totally understand why Patrick got drunk after doing maintenance on the AWACS, knowing what they were capable of doing, and that they got away with it, you know, with no consequences of, you know, justice and truth in the American way, and Superman and Vision and Captain America and Martian Manhunter and all that bullshit these assholes come up with, right? So it was very upsetting. Yeah. When you meet somebody that sexually compromised and abused your wife and your children, he gets in your face in public and calls you a crazy and a liar, and you're like, and I have to let his fucking technology at work stop his ass. Well, because in ancient times, you know, the two guards with the guns would have said he's right and shot him. Okay. Hey, you know, he's Jonathan's club-footed, you know, so in ancient times, you know. But the guy who said he was sorry to me, the last security guard, I was like, you're a billionaire, you don't have to tell me you're sorry. Okay. You don't make the rules. Okay. You got to man up, man. Because if you want to be part of the 250 with David to get back the women and the children from the Philistines, you're going to step up more like Eric, man. Eric, don't put him down. Just say, hey, man, you know it. Got to do right. Gospel of Paul Davis. Right on. Right. So I went to the dump, met the guy at the dump. We had a good conversation. Helped a young man jump his pickup truck on the way there. Met more good people today than I did assholes, which is typical. Las Cruces, you know, that whole thing with that Andy Taylor, Andy Griffith, psychologist guy that my mom had, you know, that lived in Hawaii, and said people cut him off in traffic. He does this, you know, hang loose, and any pissant can ruin your day, right? Well, I don't see people as pissants. No, because pissants, well, Nazis, maybe. Pissants will go climb into a hummingbird feeder and drown getting in and out, and give up their bodies so some can get in and out. I guess they need to take sugar back to the queen or something. It's fucking nuts what ants have to do to survive. Hey, the aardvark. Oh God, it's the aardvark again. So you know what I'm saying? So I'm so glad we're human beings. And we're not insects. And we're not birds. And we're not dogs and or cats. Secret lives of pets. No. Zeke used to eat poop out of the cat box like they were almond roca dog treats. I am so glad I am not a dog. I don't want to walk up to my best friend and sniff his balls in his butt. I don't want to ask out my date that way. Here, come here, let me sniff your vagina and your boy and your butt. Come here, Malik Andrews, come here, come here. You got nice legs. Let me sniff under there, see if I'm, if you're worthy of the royal penis, right? So it's so glad that we're not that way. And I was sitting there doing some of my dishes to make me a couple of tupatillas. It's a quesadilla. It's what some people call them. Katie called them tias. Okay. And so I made myself a tia because I didn't want them to mold and go bad. Had some cheese, made a couple of tias for lunch. Dinner / lunch is probably all I'll eat today. I had a little bit of breakfast. I'll finish my apple. I'll have an apple and then that'll call it a meal. And now when I get busy like this, I don't eat too much. And sometimes I sit down when I get depressed and I eat too much at my meals. And I realized, I learned that from the little girl from Shogun. The little tiny thing that gets blown up, that she didn't really get blown up in the making of that movie. Mariko-san? Okay. So I was like, yeah, we do. When I get my own place, I'll have my own fridge, and I won't feel like I'm intruding or being a burden on my father through economic conflict. And I'll be able to eat what I want, put the rest away, and have leftovers like, my boy William, Bill, the Rasta in Sierra Vista. They always ask me what's my name. My name's William Bill. You don't look like a Bill. He's like, first Rasta was Boob. What's the difference between Boob and Bill? It's not much. Robert, William, they're both British. It's very funny. I used to be laughing really hard. I was like, this shit's funny, isn't it though? Yeah, most of the first Rastas, Peter. We had Peter, Robert, Robbie Shakespeare, another Robert Shakespeare, Sly Dunbar, Sylvester. Okay. So these are all British names. Sylvester Dunbar, Robert Shakespeare. I mean, they don't get much more British than that. Robert Marley, Nesta Robert Marley. Well, Nesta's not British, but Robert Marley is very British. Okay. Peter McIntosh. Well, that's a little bit more Middle Eastern and Scottish or Irish, but still, he's black as you ain't Scottish or Irish. What the hell? What happened there? Well, I ain't bigger. What? Top of the morning to you. Jean, roses are red. So Jimmy Cliff, James Cliff, right? These are Rastas, right? Gregory Isaacs. Oh, it's very British and other such things, stuff, and Middle Eastern stuff. Those are not, Dikembe Mutombo, Siakam Pascal, Joel Embiid, Akeem Olajuwon, right? Hey, I don't know. Okay, so it's Jacob Nwanga. That's a European first name, Christendom name, to a Nigerian surname. Right? Good kid. He's from Texas. Yeah, and but guys. Okay, hang in there. Like Jesus has told me many times, like I told the young man at the dump. He tells me, Earl, the Gospels aren't something that happened and are going to happen. The Gospels are active. You're constantly living them every day. Okay? God isn't always watching. God's omnipotent and omnipotent. And Jesus doesn't watch everybody and everything, nor try to, because he's not a rocket scientist. Okay? Don't ever... That guy's sitting there doing that. I told one kid I talked to at the truck stop, I said, he never took into account that the people he works with might have set him up to meet me and talk to me because they knew what I was going to talk to him about, okay, because of their science projects, because they set him up like they did old Tony at Homeland Security with Peggy and her daughter Shannon, and I told her, how he found you. He got a thing for Shannon because the one you called the nigger, the boyfriend, was posting their sexual exploits online when she got high. And then wow, hey, the mom's hot. And he came out to the reason he came after you and started having sex with you was to get closer to your daughter, and because he was watching your daughter's videos of sexuality posted by her rotten, good for nothing boyfriend that Peggy hated, which I completely understand why she couldn't stand the kid. Okay, this is Las Cruces. This is a fracture. Wow. You want to hang it on your wall? No. Want to forgive debt and trespass, love, one, serve, peaceful peace. Good answer. Good. Blessed answer. Stop being a fucker and start being a lover. All right? I'm a good kid. Trust me. Excellent father. Perfect father.